this is the last video in this series, and I call this chapter of my book Putting It All Together. If you like these videos, please buy my books, Making Stuttering Therapy Work, which is available on Amazon. All evidence-based practice, EBT, stuttering therapies are compatible with all other EBT stuttering therapies. You don't need to pick one or another. You can and should do all EBT stuttering therapies together. In contrast, if someone tells you that they have the one effective therapy, should be one effective stuttering therapy, and you must not do any other stuttering therapies, that person is a charlatan. Let's list the adult EBT stuttering therapies that are well proven. Fluency shaping, delayed auditory feedback, and modifying phonated intervals, or also called MPI therapy. Now, the following stuttering therapies have some studies but need more research. Thiamine, which is vitamin B1, cognitive bias management, or CBM therapy for stuttering-related social anxiety disorder. You know, I was wondering why I'm stuttering. I didn't turn on my DAF device. Okay, I've got the headphones on, but I didn't switch on the power. Okay, so let's see if I can talk a little more fluently now. What was I saying? The following stuttering therapies have some studies but need more research. Thiamine, which is vitamin B1. Cognitive bias management, CBM therapy for stuttering-related social anxiety disorder, and transcranial direct current stimulation, TDCS. My ideas about autonomous stage motor learning have no studies. I'm not saying that everyone needs to do all of the above therapies. I'm saying that some individuals need some therapies and other individuals need need other therapies. For example, I don't have social anxiety disorder, but I have an auditory processing disorder, so I need DAF, but not CBM. There may be some individuals who have only one factor causing stuttering and are effectively treated with a single therapy. But I believe adults who stutter severely have multiple factors contributing to stuttering and need to do multiple stuttering therapies concurrently. Each EBT stuttering therapy contributes to the other EBT stuttering therapies, creating a virtuous cycle. In addition to combining several EBT stuttering therapies, developing fluent speech requires a few more strategies. These are strategies, not therapies. Strategies don't need to or can't be studied scientifically. Now I'm going to talk about speech buddies. In 8th grade, I had a teacher with a forceful personality. He tried to cure my stuttering. Whenever I stuttered, he stopped me and then told me to say it without stuttering. I hadn't had speech therapy and I had no idea what to do. His method was as effective as teaching me Chinese by stopping me from speaking English and telling me to speak Chinese. He gave up after 3 days and became my favorite teacher. 20 years later, I'd completed several speech therapy programs. I'd used DAF devices for several years. I dated a woman who disliked my stuttering. Whenever I started to block, she'd give me this look. I'd stop, relax my breathing and vocal folds, and speak fluently. After a few days with her, I was talking fluently all the time. The relationship crashed and burned shortly after that. For an individual who hasn't completed a speech therapy program, a person pointing out his stuttering is the worst thing. Such a person doesn't have any control over his speech. Telling him to talk fluently increases his stress and his stuttering. But for an individual who has mastered fluent speech skills, pointing out his disfluencies and reminding him to use his fluent speech skills will help him. When you're at that stage, find someone to do this for you. In other words, a speech buddy. In the chapter on school-age stuttering therapy, I talked about a study that compared speech therapy with a speech-language pathologist in a speech clinic versus the parents doing therapy with their children at home every day versus using a biofeedback computer at the speech clinic. The children who used the biofeedback device had the best results, and parents were a close second, and the speech-language pathologists were way back in last place. So the parents were speech buddies. They corrected their children's speech in conversations every day. Adults need speech buddies too. You can't learn to talk fluently on your own without seeking help from a speech-language pathologist, and you can't maintain and improve your fluent speech without a speech buddy. Teach your family, friends, and coworkers to recognize when you begin to stutter and ask them to remind you to use your fluency skills. Now I'm going to talk about support groups. Adults and teenagers who stutter should join an in-person support group. Online support groups can be helpful, but many are dominated by negativity. The National Stuttering Association has in-person support groups and a well-attended annual convention, and the International Stuttering Association maintains lists of stuttering self-help groups in many countries, and they often have in-person support groups. Now I'm going to talk about talking more. Stuttering therapy doesn't work if you don't talk. Motor learning research suggests that talking 3 hours daily for 6 months is a minimum to change speech motor programs. For teenagers, have an adolescent psychologist meet with you and your speech-language pathologist to help you with dating. Come up with strategies for talking more to those mysterious creatures of the opposite sex. Adults should ask their supervisor for more speaking tasks, or to take up a hobby that requires talking, such as Toastmasters. And last thing, we'll talk about self-confidence. Quote, as learners become more skilled, their confidence and their ability to perform the skill will increase. With increased confidence comes increased motivation to improve further. Consequently, when designing learning experiences, practitioners should ensure that each learner experiences some degree of success during each practice period, unquote. With persons who stutter, this increasing self-confidence manifests in their comfort in talking more, especially with strangers. A person who stutters, who is shy and avoids talking after some success with speech therapies will start to talk a little and will be more interested in speech therapy. And then we'll talk more, building a positive loop of self-confidence and fluency. Well, that's the end of this chapter and the end of these videos. So look on my channel for my other videos about stuttering therapy. Look below the video for a link to buy my book, Making Stuttering Therapy Work, which is available on Amazon. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe buttons below the video so that I get a share of the revenues from the ads you've seen. And my website is casafuturatech.com.